Different seasons will have different fruit. If you're trying to eat nectarines in December, you're gonna feel frustrated and disappointed. But if you can recognize the season you're in, you can stop trying to force something that isn't meant for right now and instead embrace the fruit that is. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about spiritual seasons and how to know which spiritual season you are in. Personally, I love seasons. I think it is so beautiful that God created the earth with seasons. Fall, summer, winter, spring. They're these beautiful rhythms that give us both variety and also familiarity. There's a quote I love by C.S. Lewis that says, "He gives them the seasons, each different and yet every year the same, so that spring is always felt as a novelty, yet always as the recurrence of an immemorial theme." And so it's this idea that seasons always give us something new to look forward to, but even as we look forward to that new thing, even as spring is coming, we've experienced spring before. So there's also that element of nostalgia to it, and it's just a really cool thing. And something really key about seasons as well is that by their very nature, they don't last forever. If we look at the definition of the word season, it says a period of time throughout the year. It has a beginning and it has an end. Now in Genesis 8, after God flooded the earth because of its sinfulness, he makes a promise and a covenant to never do that again. And here, seasons are established. Genesis 8:22 says, "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease." I think that sometimes when you're going through something, particularly a hard something, it can feel like it will never end. But the beauty of this promise is that whatever you are going through, it won't last forever because no season does. God can pour out the floodgates of heaven on a drought, and he can poke through the clouds with a rainbow even when it has been raining for 40 days and 40 nights. Things can change and they will change. No season lasts forever, but there is beauty in each season. Personally, I am a fall girly. I love fall. It is my favorite season. I love everything about it. I love the rain, the crunchy leaves, the cozy sweaters, the cooler temperatures. Not that we get a whole lot of that in Southern California, but a girl can pretend. But even though fall is my favorite season and the season I most prefer to be in, there are still things that I appreciate about each of the other seasons. I appreciate the cold and the coziness and the slower pace of winter. I appreciate the fresh, beautiful flowers popping up on the hillsides in spring. I appreciate the longer days and the more time outdoors that comes along with summer. And my point is, even if the season we're in is not the one we want to be in, it still has beautiful things to offer us, and it still has purpose, because every season holds both good and hard things. And I think the physical seasons God has established here on the earth also mirror the spiritual seasons we tend to walk through as believers. And it is so important that we know which spiritual season we're in, because knowing your season allows you to see the purpose in exactly where God has you, even as you wait and you long for him to bring you into the next one. You don't want to miss what God is doing right now, because it holds purpose for the here and now, but it also holds purpose in what is to come. And so what are the spiritual seasons, and how do you know which spiritual season you're in? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I make Christian faith and lifestyle content aimed at encouraging you to know God more through his word and to grow in his likeness, and I would love to have you here. And then give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful or encouraging. And I also want to tell you, before we go any further, about today's sponsor for this video, and that is Hillsdale College. I've mentioned here on my channel recently that I've actually been taking their C.S. Lewis on Christianity course, and it is so good. C.S. Lewis was one of the greatest Christian thinkers and writers of all time. You've probably, if you've never read one of his books, you probably at least heard people quote him a ton. The quote I just shared about seasons is actually one of his, and I have been loving going through their free course course on C.S. Lewis on Christianity, because honestly, a lot of the stuff that C.S. Lewis wrote is pretty complex. I had read through some of his books before, but honestly, it sometimes felt intimidated to go through them because it's just like a lot to unpack. And so it's been so helpful to sort of have someone break down his stuff. I've loved learning more about his writings and also about his story, because C.S. Lewis was actually an atheist before coming to the Christian faith. And so it's just really cool to learn about that and to see where God brought him and all the stuff he wrote that really just shaped Christianity, honestly. If you're not familiar with Hillsdale College offers free online courses taught by some of the world's top lecturers. They currently have over 40 free online classes, which is incredible. And then they also release new ones each quarter. They just released one called Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, which is perfect for this time of year. And then I also saw one called The David Story, Shepherd, Father, and King that I definitely want to do next. And then like I mentioned before, they also have courses like Theology 101, Ancient Christianity, the Book of Genesis. They have so much good stuff. If you're wanting to deepen your knowledge of the Bible and deepen your faith, something that is incredibly valuable no matter what spiritual season you're in, this is an incredible opportunity that you don't want to miss. If you want to join me in taking the C.S. Lewis on Christianity course or any of their other free courses, you can go right now to hillsdale.edu/Kaci to register. I'll have that link down in my description as well. hillsdale.edu/Kaci. And once again, thank you to Hillsdale College for sponsoring this video. The 4 spiritual seasons. So I'm going to sort of just talk through some descriptions of the 4 spiritual seasons. And as you're listening, just be thinking through and be praying, asking God to make clear to you which season you are in. So let's start with fall. This is a spiritual season where God might be asking you to let go of some things, or it might not even feel so gentle. It might be that God is stripping some things away from you and you're beginning to feel bare and empty and insecure. But remember that God prunes in order to prepare us to bear more fruit, and God strips things away that are not allowing us to grow, and He strips things away that we can't take with us where He is taking us. The next spiritual season is winter. This is a spiritual season where you might be dealing with a lot of unknowns or waiting. It might feel like a wilderness. It might feel dark, like you can't see what God is doing. But in this season, as He is in all seasons, He is inviting you to rest in Him, to trust in Him, and to pursue Him as you wait on Him to make your path known. The next spiritual season is spring. This is a spiritual season that is full of new life. In a lot of ways, it might feel like a fulfillment season where God is answering prayers and bringing you into new things, but it can also be an uncomfortable season, because with those new things comes a lot of learning and growing and being taken outside of your comfort zone and maybe doing things that you've never done before. But with that comes an opportunity to rely on God in new ways. The next spiritual season is summer. This is a spiritual season of fullness and flourishing. Summer is a time of longer days bursting with life. But this spiritual season might also come with some spiritual dryness, because even though this is a season of blessing, oftentimes we don't rely or depend on God in the easier seasons as much or in the same way as we do in the harder seasons. And so because of that, we can end up feeling disconnected from Him. And so this is something to be on guard against. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Which spiritual season are you in? I'm going to be sharing which season I think I'm in down in a pinned comment below, along with why I believe that is the season I'm in. And I really encourage you to just spend some time thinking through this. I know this video is a little bit different than my typical videos, but I think this is a really important thing to reflect on. And so I encourage you to spend some time reflecting on it, maybe journal through it, pray through it, think through why is that the season I think I'm in and what is God doing in it. It is so powerful to think through this, because knowing what season season we're in helps us to see the purpose that God has in it. Different seasons will have different fruit. If you're trying to eat nectarines in December, you're gonna feel frustrated and disappointed. But if you can recognize the season you're in, you can stop trying to force something that isn't meant for right now and instead embrace the fruit that is. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." Remember, if you want to check out the C.S. Lewis on Christianity course I'm taking, or any of the other free Hillsdale College online courses, you can head right now to hillsdale.edu/Kaci. I'm gonna have that linked in the description as well. Thank you again to Hillsdale College for working with me on this video. I hope that you found it encouraging, and I look forward to reading through your reflections in the comments. I will see you in my next video. Bye.